एंड वी आर ब्लेस्ड विद द प्रेजेंस ऑफ गोकुल सर। गोकुल सर किसी भी परिचय के मोहताज नहीं है। और आज जो हम जिस विषय पे आप विद्यार्थियों के समक्ष बात करेंगे वो है प्राणायाम। जो प्राणायाम है वह तो जीवन का ही एक आयाम है और जीवन का एक आधार है। प्राणायाम को अगर योगिक भाषा में कहा जाए तो वो कहते हैं कि वायु की जो एक साधना है, ऐसा कुछ कहा जाता है। जैसा मैं शिव संहिता में पढ़ रहा था कि प्राणायाम को वायु की साधना कहा गया है। तो गोकुल सर हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें, इन बच्चों का मार्गदर्शन करें कि प्राणायाम क्या है और हमें किस तरह से प्राणायाम करना चाहिए और प्राणायाम के क्या फ़ायदे होते हैं। गोकुल सर,
When you talk about pranayam, as students or as young people, one thing you should all understand is pran is the basis of life. We exist because of pran, and very often people mistake or say that pran and breathe are the same. That is also not very correct. In a layman's language, you can say that your pran is your breath, but actually what is the truth is, the breath that we take in varies from place to place. Wherever you are, you don't have a choice.
Right.
Like if you are a person who is a non-vegetarian, you have a lot of choice. You go out into the street, you have got different non-vegetarian food. You've got Chinese, you've got Indian, you've
Right.
got South Indian. And if you're a vegetarian, you've got a choice. But when it comes to breathing, you don't have much of a choice.
right, sir,
Wherever
right.
you have, you breathe the air that you get there.
Good.
And most of the time people don't complain much because they are not aware of the air they are breathing.
Right.
Unlike Satyan is behind cleaning up the atmosphere, the place, that is a big role in cleaning the air also. Because when a lot of vegetable or organic refuse is thrown around here and there with a lot of plastics, burning all that, the air also gets polluted. So what I'm trying to tell is, the air that we breathe is very variable. Now the pran shakti you have in you is the same. It doesn't change at all.
Right. Here I would like to say, I read somewhere that Satyam ek vipra bahuda vadanti. As they say that the power is one but device name differently. So is, I think, the case with prana. Breath is just one of the manifestations of prana in colloquial language, as you were telling.
One of the great masters, Shivananda, he has said that prana is carried in the breath. Breath is the carrier. Like if you have a car and you're sitting inside,
Right.
you are the prana and the car is carrying you.
Right.
It acts as a vehicle. So unless and until your breathing is proper, your prana is also in trouble. So that's why you find a lot of people in real trouble when their prana is not proper, going properly. They manifest it by many ways. Some people get irritated very soon. Some people are very quiet, moody, depressed. Lot of changes, behavioral changes happen when the pran is not properly carried by the breath. And in order that the pran is properly carried by the breath, we do the pranayama. So it's the movement or the motility or the existence of the proper conditioning of the prana. It has to be carried properly in the breath. And to have proper breathing, we have to pay attention to how we breathe. Though it is one of the basic things which shows that you are alive, most of the people are not conscious or aware of their breathing. And very few people think about how much they breathe. And basically when studies have shown that when your breathing is very shallow normally.
Right.
Your lung breathing is very shallow, and we use only about 13 to 14% of the capacity of the lungs.
Right.
So that breathing becomes faster and you become tired faster. So first of all, what I would advise you as young people is to start trying to breathe properly.
Right.
You have to develop the capacity of the lungs so that the breathing becomes proper and entire, and at least about 60 to 70% of the capacity of the lungs is utilized in breathing. For that, you have to start doing small exercises whereby you start with, trying to do the belly breathing. The belly breathing does not mean that you're breathing into the belly. The belly has nothing to do with breathing, but you push out the belly. When the diaphragm is pushed down, the lungs get more place to expand, and the lower portion of the lungs will start getting involved in breathing. That is belly breathing. So initially you do the belly breathing, Then you do the thoracic breathing. There is some middle part of the lungs which we usually do. And finally, the upper part of the lungs, which is also not much used at all. That is the shoulder breathing. So for that you have to literally lift up your shoulders.
Right.
So all this is very clearly explained.
Right. As we have introduced students mainly to very basic form of this pranayama, we teach them inhale, retain, and exhale. So inhalation, retention, then exhalation, I think have a direct impact on attention and concentration. Is it, sir?
Well, it is very much researched and reported that breathing exercises do have a profound effect on your brain. But the one thing that I have to stress or tell is, this is not something that we have to play with. We have to be very careful when we introduce the retention part, because deep inhalation and deep exhalation are very good. They are very good to begin with. And you have to have a straight spine. Most of the people do not look at the posture. The posture is very important. Unless your spine is straight, the movement of the energy in the nadis are not proper. And the basic intention of any type of pranayama is to reach at Nadi Shodhan. That's a very different thing. Maybe sometime we'll talk about that also.
Right.
Nadi Shodhan is it's a step before we go into deep meditation. So what I would tell is, now that I've told about the word meditation, ध्यान भी जुड़ा हुआ है प्राणायाम से, and the more we practice pranayam, the more we become capable of doing meditation. Unless pranayam is or your breathing is proper, we cannot go any further in meditation. So that is a different thing. Coming back to pranayam, what I would suggest you is, you sit in an upright posture, do the breathing, like you inhale and you exhale for the same amount of time.
Right.
Without any retention. And that has to be done for quite a few, say, few months, when you start getting the feel of your breath getting proper. And along with that, you can also try to develop the yogic breathing, whereby you increase the capacity of lungs, as I said earlier. You do the stomach breathing, thoracic breathing, and shoulder breathing.
Right.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of things. I'm recollecting things from Shiv Samhita. They call it the Arambhavastha. So it means that this is meant to arouse or raise interest, awaken interest of seeker or sadhakas in pranayam. So it means that you would like students of ours to focus on inhalation and exhalation to begin with.
Yeah.
Then afterwards they can switch over to retaining things. Inhale, exhale, then retain. So automatically, if they get some level or some interest, I think then they can go ahead with the guidance of people like you. What do you say?
With proper breathing,
Right.
once your breathing becomes proper, and I said about yogic breathing,
Right.
Inhalation in the three different parts, like with
Right.
belly breathing, thoracic breathing, and shoulder breathing.
Right.
And exactly like that, you can do the exhalation also.
Right.
You exhale from the shoulder, then you exhale from the lungs, and you exhale from the belly. But this exhalation process is far more difficult than the inhalation. So all these things have to be done with a proper trainer or somebody who's there to guide you. And once that is done, only after all that has become a little bit, comfortable with the person, only then you go for the retention, because retention very often directly affects your brain. The breathing processes may or may not cause much of harm anyway, but retention can cause specific problems
If not done correctly.
if not done correctly. So you were trying to improve yourself and you might land up getting into a worse situation.
True.
So that should not be.
Right.
And whenever you do such things, you take time. Don't hasten or think that I have to do this fast. You people are very young and you've got a lot of time, all the time in the world. And every day you keep specific time. In the morning, it is possible, if it is possible, you get up at the Brahma Muhurt, like just before the sun rises, and start doing it. And if you wake up early, your bowel movements also will be okay. Like, you have to have the proper bowel movements before you do the pranayam or yoga or dhyana or anything. And if you take food properly, your proper food, like at the proper time, in the night, your dinner should not go beyond 8 o'clock. I'm just telling it to you. I know many of you take it very late,
Right.
but it has to be before 8 o'clock, and very simple sattvic vegetarian food if you can. And after that, you move around for some time. You do not sleep immediately. You move around for some time so that the digestive process starts. And then you rest, and by that, when you get in the morning, you will have proper bowel movement. After that, during the Brahma Muhurt, you start doing initially you can do the pranayam, and after that you can do, meditation is not something that is very, difficult or anything. We are all here to meditate, but we don't. We find a lot of other things to do, and we learn inhalation, exhalation, you can do morning and evening. And these breathing practices will definitely improve your lifestyle.
As well as concentration.
Yeah, the way in which you live. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Gokul sir, thank you very much for blessing us with your wise counsel on pranayam. And definitely, as we have been doing for long pranayam, but we have made it a point not to go deeper into it. And all of you students, I would like you guys to practice pranayam in the morning. Just breathing, just practice breathing, nothing more, nothing less. Inhalation and exhalation to begin with. And by and by, when your interest goes deeper and you grow interested deeper and deeper, naturally things will come to you. This is what I feel, I believe in. And as all our texts, yogic texts, and from Veda to Yoga Sutra, everywhere this is mentioned that yoga has impact on your brain, particularly pranayam. तो जब प्राणायाम की जब हम बात करते हैं तो प्राण का मतलब, जैसा अभी गोकुल सर ने कहा कि प्राण का मतलब सिर्फ वायु से ही नहीं होता है. वायु तो सिर्फ एक उसका स्वरूप है. जैसे मैं पहले कह रहा था कि एकम सत्य विप्रा बहुधा वदंती, की परम सत्य एक ही है लेकिन हम इसे अनेक नामों से जानते. वैसे ही प्राण जो है वह भी एक ऊर्जा है, एक वैश्विक चेतना है, वैश्विक ऊर्जा है, और उसे अनेक नामों से जाना जाता है. जो सबसे सरल सहज नाम वो वायु है, वो श्वास है. तो इस श्वास की जो साधना है शिव संहिता में उसे क्या प्राणायाम ही कहा जाता है. और गोकुल सर ने जैसा कहा कि हमें हर रोज़ प्रतिदिन सुबह उठना चाहिए और लंबी लंबी सांसें लेनी चाहिए. और जहाँ तक मुझे स्पष्टतया समझ आता है गोकुल सर, जब हम सांस लेते हैं, इनहेल करते हैं, तो वो स्वच्छ हवा हमारे भीतर आती है, तो वो हमारे बिना प्रयास किए भी कुछ ना कुछ उसका पार्ट रिटेन रह जाता है और वो स्वच्छ हमें भीतर से स्वच्छ करती हैं. और जो बैड ब्रेथ कहो या जो अस्वच्छ हवा वो बाहर आती हैं. ऐसा आप समझते हैं, ऐसा महसूस?
That is actually the science behind breathing.
जी,
fresh air.
जी बिल्कुल.
Oxygen exchange takes
right,
place.
Right. Oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange takes place. That is science behind pranayam. And at the same time, you deserve also pat on your back that you are into cleaning air outside by conducting cleanliness campaigns.
ये सब जुड़ा हुआ है.
Right. So मैं आपसे आज के लिए बस इतना ही. मैं ज़रूर चाहूँगा कि आप ये ज़रूर करें, ज़्यादा ना करें तो कम से कम आप, जिसको हम योगिक भाषा में, अगर इफ़ माई मेमोरी सर्व्स मी राइट, इन योगिक पार्लेंस दिस इज कॉल्ड पूरक, कुंभक और रेचक. पूरक मीन्स व्हेन वी इनहेल, कुंभक व्हेन वी रिटेन, एंड रेचक व्हेन वी एक्सहेल. तो ये प्रोसेस आप हर रोज़ प्रतिदिन करते रहें. गहरे जाने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. साधो सहज समाधि भली. अगर आपको गहरा जाना होगा तो स्वतः ही जब आप में पात्रता आएगी तो आपको कोई मार्गदर्शक भी मिल जाएगा, ऐसा मेरा मानना है. टू बिगिन विद, जो आपका काम जिससे चल जाएगा, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली कैन सर्व योर पर्पस इज इनहेलिंग एंड एक्सहेलिंग. सो दैट्स ऑल. थैंक यू वेरी मच. और इसी के साथ आशा करता हूँ कि आप इससे ज़रूर कुछ ना कुछ नया सीखेंगे और इसके बारे में ज़रूर अपने मित्रों से बात करेंगे और अपने जीवन में भी डालेंगे. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू वेरी मच. जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय विश्व.